when the special session of the parliament is likely to bring one nation, one election bill.
So once in 5 years, we can afford an election. Not every year somewhere election going on, every state election has become like a national election.
बामन से लेकर के आज तक लगातार चुनाव में रिफॉर्म होते ही रहे और होते रहने चाहिए।
अगर वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन कर दिया कभी मत करना। मेरी तो मांग है वन नेशन 20 इलेक्शन।
One election, it is only to divert attention from the pressing issues and to create a false narrative.
ये पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का सिर्फ सरकार का इश्यू नहीं है, पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का इश्यू नहीं है, सारी देश का इश्यू है।
We reject this one nation, one election.
एक देश एक चुनाव को हम पटकने लगे। अरे चर्चा तो करो भाई।
Hello everyone. As we step into September 2023, it's an eventful month with a myriad of intriguing developments in India, from the intense India versus Pakistan cricket match to the gathering of global leaders at the G20 summit in India. India has changing name of Bharat and even the unexpected arrest of top Indian political leaders. However, one topic that has stirred considerable attention is the concept of one nation, one election. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has surprised many by summoning a special parliament session on the 18th of September 2023 to address this issue. A committee was formed on the 1st of September 2023, chaired by the former President Ramnath Kovind, has been tasked with examining this proposal in detail. Let's dive into the significance and implications of this bold move. Explored is the possibility of a concept called one nation, one election in India, and since its emergence into the public eye, political parties across the country have erupted with strong reactions. Rahul Gandhi views it as an attack on the Indian Union, while Kejriwal supports this move. The DMK, however, opposes the idea. Even India, the collegations of opposition parties, has different ideas. Many other political leaders have remained silent on the matter. Amidst all this, Amit Shah has been appointed as one of the panel members tasked with developing the One Nation, One Election initiative. With the 2024 general elections looming closer than ever, opinions on this policy are divided. While some hail it as a revolutionary move, others criticise it as an abuse of power. Meanwhile, media channels seem more focused on debating trivial matters rather than explaining the logic and implications of this significant proposal. So in this episode today, we will discuss detailed. We'll cover key topics. 1. The importance of voting. We'll discuss why voting is crucial for citizens to shape their nation. 2. India, largest democracy or expensive elections. We'll explore election costs and their impact. 3. One nation, one election. We'll explain this concept, why it's viewed as both revolutionary and controversial by Indian political parties. Most importantly for this video, we're not just relying on random news or debates. We've based our discussion on a comprehensive research paper authored by former members of Niti Aayog, Mr. Kishore Desai and Mr. Baibek Debroy. Notably, Baibek currently serves as the chairman of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister of India. After watching this video, you can find a link to the full paper in the video description below for a deeper dive into the subject. So if you're ready, let's dive in. So as usual, let's start from the basics and try to understand. First, why we want to vote, and why it is so important. The significance of voting lies in its role as a fundamental pillar of democracy. In India, like in any democratic nation, it's not just a civic duty, it's a cornerstone of citizen participation in governance. When citizens cast their votes, they are exercising their right to have a say in the decisions that affect their lives. Furthermore, voting is a powerful tool for holding leaders accountable. Elected officials are responsible for representing the interests and concerns of their constituents. By casting their votes, citizens can choose leaders who align with their values and priorities. If elected representatives fail to fulfill their promises or act against the public interest, the same citizens can vote them out in the next election. Let's take an example of Sri Lanka. Before the Sri Lankan Civil War, it was lasted nearly 28 years, the Tamil minority boycotted elections due to grievances. This boycott highlighted the importance of elections, as political participation is crucial for addressing grievances peacefully. Mahinda Rajapaksa won the 2005 presidential election during the conflict, and the war's expenditure ran into billions of dollars, underscoring the consequences of political unrest. Elections, when inclusive and fair, offer a democratic path to resolve conflicts and avoid the devastating costs of war. Consider a scenario where, in a region of 1,000 eligible voters, a staggering 999 choose to boycott the election. Only one individual decides to cast a vote, and astonishingly, that single vote becomes the decisive factor in determining the election's outcome. This powerful example vividly demonstrates the profound impact that an individual's vote can have, regardless of the overall voter turnout or the quality of the candidates. It underscores the significance of active participation in the democratic process and the transformative potential of each voter's choice. That's why Election Commission is spending lots of money for one election. And this is why everyone should vote. In the election day, and coming up to second question, India, largest democracy or costliest elections? Should India be known for its democracy or its expensive elections? According to Media Centre Studies report in 2014, India's Lok Sabha elections have witnessed an astronomical rise in campaign spending over the past 2 decades, soaring from 9,000 crore in 2009, Lok Sabha, to an astounding 55,000 crore, approximately 8 billion in 2014. This unprecedented financial commitment exceeds the budget of the 2016 US presidential election, which cost about 6.5 billion, according to the Centre for Responsive Politics. This cost is only for Lok Sabha election, cost not for the state election and local body election. The publishing paper has incredible numbers for the cost of one election. To get the percentage of at least 60% of voters to cast their votes, and I have divided that into 5 parts to easily to understand. 1. Total cost of elections. In 2019, the total cost of elections, including both state and central elections, amounted to a staggering 60,000 crores. This includes the transportation, advertisement and securities charges. This marked it as the world's most expensive election at that time. In 2009, the cost of election is 1115 crores, and in 2014 this number is jumped into 3,870 crores, which is 3 times more than last election. And in between 2014 and 2017, the government spent a total of 5,313 crores on conducting elections. If the numbers might be confusing, I will give the best example. Did you remember Mom Mission, everyone? The cost of Mangalian Mission is just 450 crores, and also it's very difficult to allocate the budget. But Election Commission of India has spent 3,870 crores in between 2014 to 2017, which is almost 8.6 times we spending on the elections. By 2019, the amount is skyrocket at 60,000 crores, which is almost 133 times more than Mangalian Mission. Somebody will ask me this election, how can you compare the ISRO missions and election? The Mangalian Mission is success completed with a limited budget, but the elections in India doesn't reach 60% of success. Second, rapid increase in election costs. The trend of escalating election costs is evident when we look at the numbers. In the 2009 parliamentary elections, the expenditure was 1115 crores. However, by 2014, this figure had surged threefold to 3,870 crores. It's important to note that these calculations do not include the expenses incurred in other states like Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Haryana, Assam and Jharkhand, where state assembly elections took place during the same period. Third, candidate spending. It's not just the Election Commission. Candidates also contribute significantly to campaign expenses. Official figures indicate that political parties collectively spent 1,587 crores on campaigning. Unofficially, this number is estimated to be around a much higher 30,000 crores. Opportunity for cost savings. According to the discussion paper, if all state assembly elections and parliamentary elections were held together, the total expense would have been just 4,500 crores, potentially resulting in savings of at least 2,000 crores in election expenses. In addition to parliamentary elections, state elections also incur substantial costs. For instance, the 2014 Maharashtra elections cost 793 crores, the Jammu and Kashmir election in the same year cost 110 crores. The Bihar election in 2015 cost 300 crores, not the exact numbers that money spent on elections in India, yet more ahead. Fifth, political instability poses a substantial risk to the Indian economy. When no political party secures a clear majority, in an election, coalition governments are formed to reach the necessary magic figure. While initially beneficial, if a party withdraws its support from the coalition, it triggers two unfavourable outcomes. Firstly, the imposition of governor's or president's rule in the affected state, which can disrupt governance and economic development. And secondly, the need for costly re-elections. These frequent elections drain valuable financial resources away from essential economic investments, creating uncertainty for businesses and investors. For instance, during the United Front Coalition's rule from 1996 to 1998, characterised by frequent leadership changes and ideological differences, the withdrawal of support by the ADMK led to costly re-elections, illustrating the economic repercussions of political instability in India. And coming up the final part, what exactly is the meaning of one nation, one election, people? In simple words, the concept of one nation. One election is quite simple. Currently, elections for the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies are held separately because their terms don't end at the same time. In some states like Andhra Pradesh and Telangana were held in combined. But most of the states were held separately, and this means elections happen at different times in different states. One nation, one election proposes that these elections should be held at the same time. In other words, voters would cast their votes for both their state representatives and national representatives simultaneously. This idea isn't new. After India's constitution was adopted, elections for the Lok Sabha and all state legislative assemblies were held together from 1951 to 1967. However, political instability in the late 1960s and early 1970s disrupted this schedule. For example, in 1967, the Congress Party lost control in several states, leading to non-Congress parties or coalitions coming to power. Then, in 1968, President's rule was imposed in Uttar Pradesh just 1 year after the state elections. In 1971, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi called for early elections that were originally scheduled for 1972, further disconnecting the election schedules. At this time onwards, the election were held in different times in India, and why the political parties are not at all interested in one nation and one election, which are already there in India. I will explain here with 5 important points in the paper, which you can understand the advantages of the one nation and one election. First, efficient governance. Despite Model Code of Conduct MCC, the Model Code of Conduct restricts project announcements during elections, leading to governance interruptions. Simultaneous elections would reduce the MCC's impact, enabling uninterrupted governance, fostering efficiency and preventing project delays. MCC prohibits the announcement of new development programs, welfare schemes, or capital projects from the day election dates are announced until the entire election process is completed, except for routine administrative activities. For example, during the 2019 general elections, the MCC was in effect for 2.5 months nationally and similar durations at the state level for various state elections. And for the parliament elections, again 2 months were in the MCC. So effectively for 4 to 5 months, the government is simply not functioning to initiate any new projects at all. This is because the Election Commission of India believes that if these parties are allowed to make grand announcement just before elections, these parties, both at the centre and state, might use this announcement to lure the voters to vote for their parties. So that is the reason why the Election Commission of India is very strict. Second, drastic reduction in election costs. Current separate state and national elections result in significant duplicated costs for polling stations, security and logistics. Simultaneous elections would streamline resource deployment, yielding substantial cost savings. These savings can be redirected to critical government functions and development projects. Third, minimised governance downtime. Election duties often divert government officials from their regular roles, causing governance interruptions. And most underrated costs that we ignore is something called governance downtime. In simple words, the time that the government officials spend on election duty is the time that they will not spend on governance. I will example. If civil servants are often pulled away from their regular duties to manage election logistics, but with one nation, one election, such important people can actually spend months of their time into actual governance than just election duty. Simultaneous elections would empower officials to focus on governance. Fourth, strengthened national security. The Election Commission mobilizes approximately 10 million people, including security forces, for elections. Basically, there are central armed police forces. EKFD extensive security deployment temporarily compromises primary responsibilities. Simultaneous elections would bolster national security by minimizing such diversions. Did you remember in 2009 and 2014 elections time? The Indian Premier League has shifted to South Africa and UAE. Due to security reasons, this how the security features at that time. And final question is, if one nation, one election is such an amazing concept, then why are these political parties opposing it? Is it just propaganda? Or do they have some justice to their argument? Well, as it turns out, some studies state that with one nation, one election, there is a chance that the top party is more likely to win either ruling party in a state or in a national. It sounds crazy, right? Let's take Bihar as an example. In 2014, 41% of Bihar voted for BJP for the parliament, but fast forward to 2015, for the state elections, that number fell down to just 36%. So do you see this? If both these elections had happened at the same time, there was a very high chance, based on this 2014 data, that BJP might have kept that 5% vote, or perhaps they would have even won the state assembly. Yet, implementing the one nation, one election policy presents formidable challenges. It demands the intricate synchronization of government tenures, posing practical hurdles. For instance, applying this policy to the 2019 elections would have required Tamil Nadu, Assam, and Kerala to truncate their terms by 2 years, while Goa, Uttarakhand, and Uttar Pradesh would have to extend theirs by 2 years. Such adjustments might face resistance from most political parties. Moreover, any disruptions, such as the fall of a state government or the dissolution of the central government post-implementation, could potentially derail the entire election schedule. In essence, while the continuous election cycle fosters accountability, the One Nation, One Election policy seeks to strike a balance between accountability and governance efficiency. Its potential benefits and drawbacks call for a thorough evaluation, enabling individuals to form their own informed opinions on this significant policy proposal. That's all, guys. I have explained all the main information about One Nation, One Election. If anything is wrong, I am sorry. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through this video. I hope you found the insights thought-provoking. If you enjoyed the content, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more captivating videos. Together, let's shape a brighter future. Stay informed, engaged, and be a catalyst for change. Your support motivates us to continue delivering informative and inspiring content. Thank you for being a part of our community, and follow us on social media. Stay curious and keep expanding your knowledge. See you in the next video.